I'm here at Wheel of Light Studio in Halifax, where I'll be speaking with the owner about her unique story as a small business owner. Also, we'll be doing some pottery. Let's go get messy. Ready to get messy?
Yes. So you start out with it dry, and you take your piece of clay and you put it in the center and you give it a good smack. And so once you get your clay on the center of the wheel, you're going to add water to it. You're going to wrap both hands around, and you're going to apply pressure inward and downward at first, just to make sure that your clay is really seated on the wheel and it's not going to pop off. And one of the first things we do, we call it coning. So you take both hands and you squeeze your hands towards each other.
Oh, beautiful.
And you pull up on that clay.
Wow.
And then you pivot your wrist and you push back down, and then pivot your wrist again and push forward.
I think I'm going haywire here.
Oh. So one thing that can be helpful is if you can get your hands and use the base of the palm of the hand.
Okay.
But dig in at the bottom as much as you can before you pull to cone up. And it takes practice. And so your goal is that when it's spinning in your hands, it's not bumping your hands anywhere. So when you first sat down, your hands were all over the place, and you've worked it and you've gotten it to where your hands don't bump as much.
For a first time, this definitely is a lot of fun, and takes a lot more multitasking skills than I thought.
Yes, yes. Clay will teach you a lot. It will teach you patience. It will teach you perseverance, and it will teach you acceptance, because there's times that you are just not going to make that thing you think you want to make.
Yes, I had to accept that today.
And you have to accept that, and that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
But you find the beauty in it.
Yes,
The process is very pleasing.
Definitely.
I get out in the world and I get busy, and I start to feel scattered. And I'll use the terminology, I need to get centered. I need to come spend time on the wheel. And I let go of the clutter, and I find that inner spot of calm. And when I'm done, I'm ready to meet the challenges of life again. And I learned I didn't have to have all the answers. I just needed that next step.
Wow.
Just one step.
Just one step on the wheel.
Yes.
So Robin, tell me a little bit about where you started with creativity and how you bloomed into a small business owner who owns a pottery business.
Well, honestly, I got started as a child. I was always creative, always finding things to do. I loved art class, and I loved making and experimenting and trying new things. And I've always loved color. The local art association offered a class, and I didn't have to bring any materials. I could just show up and it was free, and it was plein air painting. So I dabbled in painting for a little while, and then I found myself unemployed, and part of the unemployment brought Federal Trade Act coverage, and that brought a degree at HAC. And after 2 years of hard work, I treated myself to ceramics as my free elective, and I got hooked. I discovered a medium that is endless with possibilities. I'm never bored. There's always something new to learn, and I could spend the rest of my life practicing the art of ceramics and never learn everything, never do everything, never try everything.
Tell me a little bit about Wheel of Light Studio.
So Wheel of Light Studio came about when I went to HAC to get the degree. The original thought was I was going to manage a business selling my husband's photography. And then I got hooked on ceramics and have a little bit of talent at it, I think. So I started making some things that we thought, well, we could sell, and we were having lots of fun with that. But we talked about how difficult it would be sustainably to really make a living just with that. And so then we started thinking about, well, if we were to set up a space, I could teach and sell my wares, and that gives another layer of income.
And you also call yourself a one-woman show.
Yes.
So how do you do it all? And what do you do here?
Well, I do everything. So when COVID closed everything, and everybody found themselves back home. I couldn't work, I couldn't do craft shows, nobody was shopping, and I had nothing at that point. And then one day I said, I'm going to start a business. And James looked at me and said, okay, and went back to work. So I reached out to the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, and I was put in touch with a mentor that helped guide me through the process of writing a business plan and learning just what exactly does it take to start a business. And so when we finally decided to open the business, I have 39 artists at this point. Wow. In my little boutique shop. I sell on consignment. I have a couple of extra rooms that we've set up as classroom space. So anybody that would like to teach in another medium has space they can come in. It's just become a hive of creativity. That became the plan years ago, was that diversity.
Yeah. How important is diversity to you?
Oh, very important. Yeah. Very important. Growing up as a girl, we heard girls can do anything. You can do anything you want. You can be anything you want. You can be the president. But what we heard and what we experienced were not the same thing. That's affected things. Growing up, being told I could do things, but then experiencing the very subtle patriarchal condemnation that came to girls. You were told you could go to college, but there didn't really seem to be a lot of support to help me get to college. And there was a lot of encouragement to find a good man and get married and have babies. So that's what I did because I didn't know what else to do. And then as a mom going to college when my kids were in school, I found myself in a really interesting position because I realized I was a living example of what a student could be. And I felt a lot of pressure to be the best student that I could be. I could tell my girls everything I want them to know and teach them everything I want them to know. But my actions spoke much louder. Because I've been so blessed in life, I feel responsible to share those blessings in whatever way that I can, to spread light, to spread love, to encourage people to grow. And so I drop pebbles in the pond and watch the ripples.
Yes.